what was the history of the BBL? How did you get something that was so different than any other IPL?
Yeah. Our R&D team, I don't always, the best description I would give to them is they're very innovative, but they're not always the first one. I don't think they always want to be the first one with the technology. They just make technology better. So, IPL came out before BBL did, and they really took what was already out there and just made it different. I mean, it's got two flash lamps inside of it, what makes it last a lot longer. It's got the adapters, it's got the adjustable filters, which is pretty unique. So they really just took something and studied what was out there and learned from physicians like yourself on, what do we do different and how do we make it better? And they just listened to the physicians out there. And that's really how BBL, that's where it came from.
Yeah. Why do you think you haven't been copied? I mean, it's such an amazing device. Why hasn't somebody copied that and made an equally powerful IPL?
That's a good question. I mean, I do think there are some technologies that are really hard to copy. I'm not sure it's impossible to copy. I do think in the IPL, BBL world, our industry has moved away from it. It's kind of like it's an old technology and they want to move into body contouring and RF and microneedling RF, and we still think there's a huge market in just the energy or the light-based treatments. We're spending a ton of time just building on the BBL technology.
Well, that's an interesting point, because I have said that, and I've said that a lot, that with every, our industry is full of trends and fads, and right now there's a lot of kind of movement towards contouring and skin tightening and some machines that, may or may not be beneficial or kind of have a really significant impact. But there's so much movement towards some of these new devices. It's almost like the industry's forgotten about some of the foundational devices that have really rock solid evidence for how well they function. And I've thought about this with my own residents and my own students. When I talk to them, they'll oftentimes call me and ask my opinion. And I say, don't forget about the basic machines that have been around forever. And in particular, I do mention the BBL. I think sometimes maybe it's just because old things are boring, but it is an unbelievable machine. And again, I go back, it amazes me that something like that, and there's lots of examples of things like that just get forgotten about, and simply probably because they've been around forever. But people take a focus into another direction, which has not so much evidence, but they forget about some of the devices that have really been amazing for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, our industry, we're known for that. I mean, it's the new shiny toy. Everybody's looking for the new shiny toy and some of the great technology. And, there's other products out there from other companies that are great technology that, unless there's people like yourself or the Jay Burnses of the world that are training and teaching people on just the best technology, not the newest technology, that's what's really helped us a lot is, our full field erbium is still a good seller, which some people don't even, they still think of full field CO2. When they think of that stuff, it scares them. But, full field erbium still has its place, and we still have a lot of doctors doing it. So, but that's the first product we rolled out 23 years ago, and we still have it. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah. So, what do you see kind of going forward then? Tell me about your R&D and what you see. Are you guys diving into the new trends in body contouring and skin tightening as well, or where do you see Sciton going?
We're always looking for new stuff. I would definitely say that the body contouring, some radio frequency stuff. I mean, there's a lot of things we're working on. I would say there's the pieces that we really look at is we're always trying to take existing technology and how can we make it better for the provider, so whoever's doing the treatment, and how can we make it better for the end user or the patient? Is it going to actually be a better result? So we're always working on existing stuff, but then there's always the blue ocean that is something brand new that people always want. So, we are always looking for a different technology, and there's definitely some gaps out there. I think body contouring has become a big thing, but there's still a lot of gaps in body contouring. There's the surgical stuff that, plastic surgeons are doing that is as good as it gets, but then there's a lot of people that don't want the downtime, and there's some good technologies out there now, but there's definitely some gaps there. On skin tightening, there's certainly some gaps. There's some products that are okay, but I don't know if I'd say there's really anybody. If you get 10 different providers on a call and ask them what's the best skin tightening product, they'll give you 10 different answers, or they'll tell you 10 things don't work. I mean, it's interesting. We talk to, KOLs all the time, and one thinks it's okay and one thinks it's terrible. And then maybe, 10% thinks something's great. So skin tightening and, cellulite's another big one that we're always looking into of what are things we can do there. I think we have 14 things in the research. Well, we have more than 14. If you took the whole research and the development pipeline, there's near 20 projects the team's working on right now. So
how do you, this fascinates me. So how do you decide on what to have the team work on? Do you look globally at what global trends are? Because I say this to a lot of the other CEOs I've chatted with. Different parts of the world are very different in what they focus on and what they think is important. So if you looked at North America and the American market versus South America or the Asian market, you'd probably see vastly different areas that people are kind of growing towards. So as a company, how do you decide what is going to be that next thing that you guys are really diving into?
Yeah, that's not easy to answer. That's a good question, but that's a hard one to answer, because you're certainly looking at worldwide trends, and you're right. If we go to our direct operations in Japan, it's very different. What they're looking for and what our North American teams are looking for are very different. So there's certainly the trends. You're always looking at what is hot, and you want to get into that too. Microneedling RF is hot. RF body contouring is hot. I would say that our R&D guys struggle with the just go copy it because it's hot. They really want to come up with a way that they have to be able to make it better. If they can't make it unique and better, they're not going to go do it. So there's certainly, we're looking at the trends. I mean, you're looking for an opportunity where you think that you can help a provider provide a great treatment. And then is obviously a big revenue stream for the company too. And those are both win-wins. But there's a lot of products we could roll out right now that would make us a ton of money that we don't think are that great of products. We think they're just okay. So, when we talk about quality, that's one of the things our R&D people talk about. Is the product just okay, or is it a great product? And if it's not a great product, they don't want to just go copy somebody. They've got to come up with something that's better, unique, and different. And so part of it comes to how big is the market opportunity? Is it going to help the patient? And can we make something unique and different?
Well, I applaud you for that kind of stance, because I think that's great, and that's probably why you have such a strong reputation for quality. But do you fear that you will miss out if you don't jump into the fray?
All the time.
So how do you balance that? How do you balance it? Because you're not necessarily going to know what's a winner unless you're going to the dance kind of thing.
I would see that's a hard thing to answer, because I worry about that all the time. I wouldn't say that's my sense of paranoia, but I'm always thinking about, should we be getting into that? Are we missing an opportunity? And I would just say, between our KOL community and our own people, it's somewhat of a community gut feel, I guess. When we, for instance, we just rolled out something called BBL Hero, which is an enhancement or an even better version of our existing BBL that's been around for a long time. Yeah. We debated about rolling that out for a long time.
Why?
We really thought it's been in the works.
But why?
For a long time. Well, one, we weren't sure if it was good enough. This is, again, our engineers over engineering it or trying to make it better. And they kept wanting to do other things. And there's still R&D stuff with BBL right now where we're going to make it even better. But those, you don't know when they're all going to come out, but they're always trying to make something better. But you're always going, well, you already have it.
Yeah.
Is this that much different? And you're balancing resources. You go, well, we've got BBL Hero, but again, we've got near 20 other projects we could be working on. Yeah. Which one do you focus on?
Well, you're exactly right, because you've already got a product that's market leader. And right. Are you gonna put resources in to separate yourself even that much further, or are you gonna go towards RF or something else? And
right, exactly.
That's it. That's
an interesting. We have an RF team, so we could have focused on RF, but ultimately, where really the tipping point was, we had enough people in the field just saying, wow, this is game changing. You get the feedback, and it wasn't you hear it from one person or two people. We heard it from so many people. We thought, okay, we just need to move forward. We need to put all of our resources into it, and we just doubled down. We had a team working on it, but we doubled down on who was working on it. And, and ultimately that's what happens. We have our 20 projects, and you determine which ones are going to be the most impactful. And then you kind of move those to the front, and you keep working on others. And some of the research is, clinical study stuff that takes years. So, that stuff's not going to be out for a while. But, in our business, you're rolling out products every year. one big piece is you have to roll out some big enhancement or some big new product every single year. And, that's the cadence that we try to follow too.